If you have ever trusted someone more than yourself, if you have ever believed that blood relations could never betray you, then please listen to this story until the very end. And if this story touches your heart even a little, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still believes that family always protects you. Because what I am about to tell you is the story of how the person I loved most in this world destroyed my entire life. My name is Hannah. And the woman who ruined me was my own sister. Growing up, people used to call us inseparable. Emily and I were only 2 years apart. From childhood, we shared everything: toys, clothes, secrets, dreams. We slept in the same room, whispered to each other late at night, promised each other that no matter what happened, we would always protect one another. When our parents fought, we held hands under the blanket. When I cried after failing an exam, she wiped my tears. When boys first noticed me, she teased me playfully and said, "One day, I'll be your maid of honor." And I believed her, because in my heart, Emily was not just my sister. She was my best friend. When I met Michael, my fiancé, I introduced him to my family with pride. He was kind, gentle, hardworking, the kind of man every woman dreams of. From the very beginning, he treated me like I was precious. He listened to me. He respected me. He loved me in a way that made me feel safe. When he proposed, I ran straight to Emily, screaming with happiness. He asked me to marry him. I cried. She hugged me tightly, laughing. "I'm so happy for you, Hannah." Her smile looked genuine. But now, when I think back to that moment, I realized something terrifying. That was the first time I saw envy in her eyes. At first, I ignored the small things. The way she stared at Michael a little longer than necessary. The way she laughed too loudly at his jokes. The way she always found excuses to be around us. She's just being friendly, I told myself. She's my sister. How wrong I was. Wedding preparations began. Dresses, invitations, venue bookings, family meetings. I was glowing with happiness. Every night, I imagined my future. A home filled with love, children running through the halls, growing old beside the man I trusted with my life. Emily became deeply involved in everything. She insisted on helping me choose my wedding dress. She volunteered to handle the decorations. She accompanied me to every fitting. "She's so supportive," my mother said proudly, but slowly, very slowly, something began to change. Michael became distant, not cold, not rude. Just distracted. Sometimes, when I spoke, he seemed lost in thought. Sometimes, he forgot small details he never used to forget. And sometimes, when Emily entered the room, I noticed the way his eyes followed her. It made my stomach twist. But again, I told myself I was imagining things. She's my sister. He's my fiancé. Such things don't happen in real life. One evening, I returned home earlier than usual from work. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I heard voices coming from the living room. Michael's voice. Emily's voice. I smiled, thinking they were planning some wedding surprise. As I approached, I heard laughter. Soft. Intimate. And then, I heard my name. "Hannah doesn't need to know," Emily said quietly. My heart stopped. Michael replied, his voice low. "I know. But this is getting harder." The room began to spin. I pushed the door open. They jumped apart like guilty children. Emily's face turned pale. Michael couldn't even look at me. "What is going on?" I whispered. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Finally, Emily forced a smile. "Oh, nothing. We were just talking about the wedding." But her hands were shaking, and Michael's eyes were full of fear. That night, I barely slept. The next weeks were torture. Michael began canceling plans, avoiding eye contact, and Emily became sweeter than ever, bringing me tea, complimenting my looks, telling me how lucky I was. But behind that sweetness, something dark was growing. One afternoon, my mother called me into the kitchen. "Hannah," she said gently, "Emily has something important to tell us." My sister sat across from me, eyes red, trembling. I didn't want to say this, she began. But I can't hide it anymore. My heart pounded. She looked at Michael. Then back at me. Michael has feelings for me, she said. The world shattered. I stood up so fast my chair fell. What? What are you saying? I screamed. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I tried to stop him, I swear, but he kept coming to me, telling me he was confused, that he didn't love you the same way anymore. I turned to Michael. Is this true? I begged. He didn't answer. That silence was the moment my life ended. My parents looked at me with shock, then confusion, then doubt. Emily continued crying. I never wanted this, but love just happened. Love, with my fiancé, my own sister. I collapsed onto the floor. No, this is a lie. She's lying. I sobbed. But Emily had prepared everything. Messages. Fake. Screenshots. Carefully crafted lies. She had erased my messages from Michael's phone. She had created conversations where he confessed love to her. She had made herself look innocent. And me, like a blind fool. My parents believed her. My mother hugged Emily, whispering, "It's not your fault." My father looked at me with disappointment. Hannah, how could you not notice your fiancé's feelings? I felt like screaming. He is my fiancé. I cried. He belongs to me. Emily looked at me with tears in her eyes and a smile hiding in the corner of her lips. That night, Michael told me the truth. I'm sorry, he said. I fell for her. Just like that. No shame. No guilt. I thought I loved you, he added. But Emily understands me better. Those words destroyed me more than the betrayal. Within a week, the wedding was canceled. Invitations withdrawn. Gifts returned. Relatives whispered. Neighbors judged. Friends avoided me. And Emily moved into my place. With my fiancé, with my future. With my life. On the day they announced their relationship officially, my sister came to my room. She stood at the door, looking at me, broken, pale, shaking. I'm sorry, Hannah, she said softly. But her eyes were shining. With victory, with satisfaction, with cruelty. And then she said the words that still haunt me to this day. Sometimes, the better woman wins. I screamed. I cried. I begged my parents to believe me. But they chose her. She's happy now, my mother said. You should move on. Move on. From my own sister stealing my life, I packed my bags and left my childhood home with nothing but shattered dreams and a bleeding heart. Alone. Rejected. Humiliated. And behind me, my sister was smiling, living my life, wearing my ring, sleeping in my place, holding the man I loved. That was the day I lost my family. That was the day I lost my future. And that was only the beginning of my suffering. Because what happened next was even more painful. And when the truth finally came out years later, no one was ready for the price my sister would pay. If you want to know how Hannah survived betrayal, humiliation, and loneliness, how she rebuilt herself from nothing, and how one day her sister came back crying and begging for forgiveness. If you are still listening, then prepare your heart. Because what happened after my sister stole my fiancé's not just betrayal. It was the slow destruction of my soul. After I left my parents' house that night, I had nowhere to go. No husband. No family. No home. Only a small suitcase and a heart so broken I could barely breathe. I stayed with a friend for a few days, sleeping on the edge of her bed, staring at the ceiling every night, replaying everything again and again in my head. How did this happen? How did the two people I trusted most in this world become the ones who destroyed me? But the pain did not stop there. It was only beginning. News spread fast. In our town, stories travel quicker than truth. People whispered behind my back. Some said I was jealous. Some said I was unstable. Some said I had driven Michael away with my bad behavior. And the worst part, no one came to ask me what really happened. Not my cousins, not my aunts, not even my parents. They all chose to believe Emily. Because she cried better than I did. A week later, I received a message from my mother. Hannah, please don't make this harder for everyone. Come to dinner. We are still your family. Still your family. I gathered my courage and went. When I entered the house, my chest tightened. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. And then, I saw them. Sitting together on the sofa. Emily and Michael. Laughing. Holding hands. Like I had never existed. My legs almost gave way. Emily stood up and walked toward me. Hannah. I'm so glad you came, she said softly. Her voice was gentle, her eyes full of false concern. I wanted to slap her. I wanted to scream. But I stayed silent. Michael couldn't even look at me. During dinner, my parents acted as if nothing unusual had happened. They discussed wedding plans, but not mine. Emily single quotes s. Her new engagement. To my ex-fiancé. Every word stabbed me. Every laugh cut deeper. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up, my hands shaking. Why are you all acting like this is normal? I cried. My father frowned. Hannah, please control yourself. Control myself? She stole my life. I shouted. Emily burst into tears instantly. I never wanted to hurt you, she sobbed. But love cannot be controlled. My mother rushed to comfort her. It's okay, sweetheart. You deserve happiness. And then she turned to me and said the words that broke me forever. Hannah, maybe this is God's plan. God's plan to humiliate me. To destroy me. To replace me with my own sister. I left the house without another word. And I never went back. The following months were the darkest of my life. I lost my job because I couldn't concentrate. I stopped answering calls. I stopped eating properly. I stopped caring about myself. Every morning, I woke up hoping it had all been a nightmare. Every night, I went to sleep praying I wouldn't wake up. But pain has a cruel habit. It keeps you alive just enough to suffer. One evening, I made the mistake of opening social media. And there they were. Photos. Smiles. Engagement. Rings. Emily wearing my dream dress. Emily standing beside my parents. Emily living my life. Under one photo, she had written, sometimes happiness comes from unexpected places. I threw my phone against the wall and collapsed on the floor. I cried until my body shook, until my throat burned, until no tears were left, and then something inside me died. Months later, their wedding day arrived. I wasn't invited, but I heard everything. Fireworks. Music. Laughter. The entire town celebrating their love, and me sitting alone in a small rented room, holding my knees, whispering my own name, just to remind myself I still existed. After the wedding, my parents completely cut me off. They said my bitterness was poisoning the family. They said I should apologize. To Emily, apologize. For being betrayed. For being replaced. For being destroyed. That was the day I realized something painful. Blood does not always mean loyalty. Sometimes, blood is the deepest betrayal. Years passed. Slowly. Painfully. I moved to another city. Found a small job. Rented a tiny apartment. Started rebuilding myself from nothing. But the wounds inside me never healed. I had nightmares. In every dream, I was standing in a wedding dress, watching my sister walk away with my husband. I stopped trusting people, stopped believing in love, stopped believing in family. Then one day, life tested me again. I met a woman at work named Clara. She was kind. Warm. Always smiling. One afternoon, she asked me gently, "Why are your eyes always sad?" And for the first time in years, I told someone the truth. Everything. She listened without interrupting. And when I finished, she hugged me tightly. "You didn't lose your life," she whispered. "You survived." Those words changed something inside me. Slowly, very slowly, I began to heal. I worked harder, studied at night, saved money. Built confidence. Years passed. I became successful in my career, bought my own apartment, made new friends. For the first time since the betrayal, I smiled again. And then, one evening, while returning from work, I saw a familiar face dot at a bus stop dot thin dot tired dot eyes full of worry dot it was Emily dot my heart froze. She didn't see me dot, she looked older dot broken dot not the glowing bride. I remembered, not the victorious sister who stole my life. Something was wrong, and then I saw a small boy beside her, holding her hand dot crying dot my chest tightened. What had happened to her? Where was Michael? Why did she look like life had crushed her? I went home that night unable to sleep. Memories flooded back dot anger dot pain dot questions dot and then 3 days later. At exactly 2:17 in the morning, someone knocked on my door dot soft dot weak dot desperate dot. I opened it and nearly collapsed because standing there with tear-filled eyes was my sister dot Emily dot holding a child in her arms dot shaking dot crying dot and whispering the words I never imagined I would hear. Hannah, please save me. If you want to know what destroyed my sister's perfect life, what Michael did to her, why she lost everything. When I saw Emily standing at my door that night, holding a child and shaking like a leaf in the wind, for a moment I thought my mind was playing cruel tricks on me. This was not the sister I remembered. This was not the proud woman who had stolen. My fiancé walked into my future with her head held high. Her hair was messy. Her face pale. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. Her clothes were old, wrinkled, almost dirty, and the little boy in her arms clung to her neck as if afraid the world might swallow him whole. Hannah, please, she whispered again. I stood frozen. My heart pounded so loudly I thought it might burst out of my chest. Every memory rushed back at once. Her smile when she destroyed me. Her victory when she took my place. Her tears that fooled my parents. For a moment, I wanted to close the door. I wanted to let her stand there and feel the same loneliness I had felt for years. But then, the child looked at me. His eyes were red from crying. His tiny hands were trembling. And suddenly, I remembered myself. Young, helpless, abandoned, without saying a word. I stepped aside. She entered, and my life changed again. She sat on the edge of my sofa, holding the child tightly. For several minutes she couldn't speak. She just cried. Deep, broken sobs that came from a place of pure despair. I stood in front of her, my arms crossed, my heart closed. Why are you here? I asked finally. Her voice shook. I have nowhere else to go. Nowhere else. I almost laughed. You had everything, I said coldly. The husband, the family, the life you stole from me. Her face crumpled. It's all gone, she whispered. Those words echoed in the room. All gone. I didn't reply. I waited. Slowly, painfully. She began to tell me the truth. After marrying Michael, her life had looked perfect from outside. Big house, luxury car. Parties. Friends. Beautiful photos. But behind closed doors, hell had begun. Michael had changed. At first, it was small, cold behavior. Late nights. Sudden anger. Then insults. Shouting. Humiliation. He compared her to other women. Told her she wasn't good enough. Told her she was lucky he chose her. And when she became pregnant, everything got worse. He accused her of trapping him. He ignored her completely. Sometimes, he disappeared for days. And then the beating started. At first, just pushing. Then slapping. Then punching. She showed me bruises on her arms, faded marks on her ribs. I stared at them in silence. Part of me felt satisfaction, but another part felt only sadness. He drinks all the time now, she continued. He lost his job, gambles, brings strange women home. My chest tightened. The man I once loved had become a monster. Why didn't you leave him? I asked. She laughed bitterly. I tried, but Michael controlled everything. Her money. Her phone. Her movements. And when their son was born, he became even crueler. One night, after a terrible fight, Michael threw her out of the house with the baby. No money. No phone. No help. She went to my parents. Refused to take her in because, by then, the truth had started to come out. Neighbors had told them about the fights. Relatives had whispered about Michael's affairs. Slowly, painfully. My parents began to realize they had made a terrible mistake, but pride stopped them from admitting it. And so, they told Emily to go back to her husband, and she did, for years enduring violence, humiliation, fear, until finally, Michael disappeared, left one morning and never returned. Left debts, left loans, left nothing but problems. Their house was taken by the bank. Friends vanished, family turned cold, and she was left alone with a child and a ruined life. Silence filled my apartment. Her story hung heavy in the air. I should have felt happy. I should have felt victorious. But instead, I felt empty. So, I said quietly, "You remembered me now." She lowered her head. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness," she whispered. "But Hannah, I destroyed you, and life destroyed me." Those words pierced my heart. For the first time, she admitted it. She destroyed me. I turned away, tears burning in my eyes. All the pain I had buried for years suddenly returned. The nights I cried myself to sleep. The days I wanted to disappear. The family that abandoned me. The dreams that died. "Do you know what you did to me?" I asked softly. She nodded, crying. "I ruined your life." "Yes," I said. "And then you smiled while I was dying inside." She broke down completely. "I was jealous of you," she confessed. "You were loved, respected, happy, and I was always second." Her words finally revealed the truth. This was never love. This was envy. Poisonous. Silent. Deadly. I looked at the child. Innocent. Unaware of the sins that created his pain. And suddenly, I faced the hardest choice of my life. Revenge or mercy. I allowed her to stay for one night. Just one. I gave the child food, a blanket. Water. Emily slept on the floor. I stayed awake all night. Thinking. Remembering. Fighting my heart. The next morning, something unexpected happened. There was a knock on my door. I opened it. And froze, because standing there were my parents. Older. Weaker. Their eyes full of regret. They had finally found me. My mother began to cry. "Hannah, we made the biggest mistake of our lives." Those words that I had waited years to hear. They came inside. Saw Emily, and everything collapsed. My father fell into a chair. My mother covered her mouth in shock. Emily looked at them with empty eyes. No anger. No pride. Only shame. My parents finally learned the full truth. How Emily had lied. How Michael had manipulated them. How they had destroyed their own daughter. They fell at my feet, crying. "Forgive us," my mother begged. For the first time in years, I felt something lift from my chest. Not happiness, not peace, but release. The truth was finally free. That day, I made a decision. Not for them. Not for revenge, for myself. I told Emily she could stay. Only until she found work. Only until she stood on her own feet. No forgiveness. No closeness. Only help. Because I refused to become cruel like her. Months passed. Emily found a small job. Started rebuilding slowly. My parents tried desperately to reconnect with me. Apologizing. Crying. Regretting. And slowly, very slowly, my heart began to soften. Not forget. Never forget. But understand. One evening, while Emily was washing dishes, she suddenly collapsed, crying uncontrollably. "I destroyed the only person who would have saved me," she sobbed. "And when I finally needed help, only you opened the door." Those words broke the last wall around my heart, but the story was not finished yet, because one day, Michael returned. And when he did, the final truth came out, and with it, the moment that would decide whether my sister deserved forgiveness or complete rejection. If you want to know what Michael confessed, what terrible secret he revealed, and how my sister finally paid the price for her betrayal, then stay with me for part 4, the final judgment. The day Michael returned, I knew destiny was not finished with us yet. It was a rainy evening. The sky was heavy, just like my heart had once been. Emily had already gone to work. My parents were visiting relatives. I was alone in my apartment, making tea, trying to enjoy a rare moment of silence. Then, the doorbell rang. I opened the door casually, and my entire body froze, because standing in front of me was the man who had once been my whole world. Michael. Older. Thinner. His hair unkempt. His eyes hollow. The confident groom I once loved was gone. In his place stood a broken man. Hannah, he whispered. My chest tightened. Every memory came back. At once. Love. Betrayal. Humiliation. Pain. I stepped back slowly. What do you want? I asked coldly. He looked at the floor. I need to talk to you. For a moment. I wanted to slam the door, but something in his face told me. This meeting was important. I let him in. He sat nervously on the edge of the chair, his hands shaking. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally, he broke down. I destroyed everything, he said quietly. And I came to confess. Confess. Word made my heart race. He told me everything. How Emily had approached him first. How she had slowly planted doubts in his mind. How she had told him lies about me. That I didn't respect him. That I would leave him after marriage. That I was using him. She made me believe you didn't love me, he whispered. And then, the most shocking truth of all. The messages, the screenshots. Emily created them all, he said. She erased your messages. Edited mine. Made everything look real. Tears rolled down his face. I was weak, he continued. I was foolish, and by the time I realized the truth, it was too late. I closed my eyes. For years, I had blamed myself, questioned myself, hated myself. And now, the truth was standing in front of me. She planned everything, he said. She didn't love me. She only wanted your life. My heart felt heavy. Not with anger. With sorrow. For years I punished her for what she did, Michael continued. I beat her, insulted her, humiliated her. I raised my hand. Stop, I said. No matter what she did. Violence was never right, he nodded. I know, he said. And that is why I lost everything. He told me how he had gambled. Drunk. Destroyed his career. How he finally realized he had ruined 3 lives. Mine. Emily. Single quotes. S. And his own. I came to tell you the truth, he said softly. Because you deserved it. Years ago. Then he stood up. I don't expect forgiveness, he added. I only hope you can finally heal. And with that, he left. I sat there for a long time, staring at the empty door. Tears finally flowed from my eyes. Not of pain, but of relief. The truth had finally freed me. That evening, Emily returned from work. She looked tired. Weak. But calmer than before. I asked her to sit. My voice was steady. Michael came today, I said. Her face turned pale. She started trembling. He told me everything. She collapsed onto her knees, crying uncontrollably. I was afraid of this day, she sobbed. And then, for the first time in her life, she told the full truth. How she had always lived in my shadow. How everyone praised me. Loved me. Trusted me. While she felt invisible. How envy slowly turned into obsession. How she planned everything carefully. How she enjoyed watching me break. And when I smiled while you were crying, she whispered, I felt powerful. Those words stabbed my soul. But karma came, she continued, and destroyed me completely. She touched my feet. Begging. Double quotes. Please forgive me, Hannah. She cried. I have suffered more than I can describe. And I deserve every bit of it. But please, don't hate me forever. I stood in silence. Looking at the woman who had once been my sister. My enemy. My destroyer. And now, a broken human being. For a long time, I said nothing. Then finally, I spoke. You destroyed my youth, I said. You took my love, my family, my dignity. She nodded. You made me believe I was worthless, I continued. You made me question my existence. She cried harder. But, I said softly, if I keep hating you, you will destroy the rest of my life too. She looked up at me. Hope flickering in her eyes. I cannot forget, I said. And I will never trust you again. Her face fell. But, I continued, I choose to forgive you. She gasped. Not because she deserved it, but because I deserved peace. I helped her stand. This forgiveness is not for you, I said. It is for me. So I can finally live without chains. She hugged me tightly, crying like a child. I will spend my life trying to repay you, she whispered. Months passed. Emily worked honestly, raised her son with humility, never asked for more. My parents slowly rebuilt their relationship with me. With shame, with regret, with patience, and me, for the first time in my life, I felt free. Not rich. Not married. Not famous, but at peace. One evening, while sitting on my balcony watching the sunset, I realized something beautiful. I had lost everything, but I had found myself. Stronger. Wiser. Unbreakable. And then one day, someone new entered my life. Not with promises. Not with drama. But with respect. Patience. Kindness. Slowly, I learned to love again. Carefully. Bravely. And finally, happily. Today, when I look back at my past, I no longer cry, I smile. Because the sister who destroyed my life taught me the most important lesson of all. That betrayal can break you, or it can build you. It depends on what you choose. And now, as I finish telling you my story, I want to tell you something from my heart. Sometimes, the deepest wounds come from family. The people who smile at you may be the ones holding the knife, but never let betrayal make you cruel. Never let pain steal your soul. And never believe that your life ends when someone destroys you. Because sometimes, your real life begins after everything falls apart. If this story touched your heart, if you have ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, or if you believe that pain can turn into strength, then please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who needs healing today. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that are silently breaking. And remember, no betrayal is stronger than a brave soul. The end.